Islam is defined by four fundamental pillars and elements. Islam is defined by mu'ashara and social dealings. How do we conduct ourselves from a social perspective? Secondly, is in terms of our mu'amalat, in terms of our financial dealings. How do we conduct our financial dealings? Do we conduct our financial dealings in a Sharia compliant manner or not? Thirdly, is in terms of siyasat and our political lives. How do we conduct our political lives? Do we conduct our political affairs in a Sharia compliant manner or not? And fourthly, is with regards to ibadah and worship. Do we conduct our physical ibadah, our physical worship in a Sharia compliant manner or not? These are the four main pillars and fundamental elements of Islam and Iman. If a person claims to be a Muslim, then he should be complete in all these four elements. If a person is not complete in any one of these elements, then his Iman and his Islam is not complete. And this is where we refer to the verse of the Quran, Al-Yawma akmaltu lakum deenakum wa atmamtu alaykum ni'mati wa raditu lakum al-Islam deena. That today I have perfected your religion. In other words, Islam is a complete way of life, and for a Muslim, it is a fundamental tenet, an element of a Muslim's life and Iman. In one hadith, in one prophetic tradition, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the Prophet himself mentions, طَلَبُ كَسْبِ الْحَلَالِ فَرِيضَةٌ بَعْدَ الْفَرِيضَةِ, that to seek a Sharia compliant halal income, this is an obligation after an obligation. In other words, that just as it is fard and obligatory upon a person to perform salah, to dispense of zakat, to perform hajj, the annual pilgrimage, equally fard and obligatory is it upon a person to ensure that his financial dealings are also Sharia compliant. This is the integral element and fundamental nature of Islamic finance, banking and economics. And in line with this, we intend to provide guidance around the concepts of Islamic finance, and more specifically, the current juncture that we face as an Islamic finance industry. The Islamic finance industry has achieved exceptional growth since its inception. And in fact, according to a Standard & Poor's report of 2020, the Islamic finance industry grew at 10.4% despite the COVID-19 pandemic. And one would have imagined that the industry would have experienced a massive downturn considering the economic and financial pressures of the COVID-19 pandemic. Yet, the overarching resilience of Islamic finance withstood the test of the COVID-19 pandemic. If we look at sukuk or Islamic bonds, the Islamic bond sector of the Islamic finance industry is touted to grow at 10 to 12% per annum on an ongoing basis. In 2021, close to 167 billion United States dollars was issued in sukuk or Islamic bonds. And this year in 2022, it is conceived and projected, according to a Standard & Poor's report, that the sukuk industry, the sukuk sector, will reach 200 billion United States dollars to be issued. The Islamic finance industry, according to an S&P report, will grow at approximately 10 to 12% per annum going forward. And most of the world's financial institutions have some form of engagement with the Islamic finance industry. The United Nations itself has issued an Islamic bond or a sukuk. The World Bank has guidance notes on Islamic finance. And just recently, we as Global Islamic Financial Services firm have also signed an exclusive agreement to develop Islamic derivative contracts on the Dubai Gold Exchange, which is the largest exchange in the Middle East and Africa, with over 3 billion United States dollars of contracts being traded on a daily basis. There remains a huge opportunity for Islamic finance going forward. And therefore, with the evolution of the financial services industry, fintech, cryptocurrency, blockchain, we find ourselves at a critical juncture. How do we merge the Islamic finance sector with Islamic fintech, with technology, with cryptocurrency, with blockchain, and with the various forms of fintech? How do we merge the two, and what are the opportunities for Islamic finance going forward? In this day and age of technological advancement, and more specifically of financial technological advancement, how do we find innovation and growth going forward? What are the opportunities and what are the challenges that we face as an Islamic finance industry? I will therefore discuss the challenges that we face and also the opportunities that present themselves before the Islamic finance industry. I will also discuss certain fundamental concepts such as sukuk, Islamic bonds versus conventional bonds, and how that can transform the East and Central African regions in terms of infrastructure funding, and how these economies can access Sharia compliant funding so that they can provide for infrastructure funding and also for the broader poverty alleviation of the continent. I will also discuss certain other contemporary topics such as the concept of cryptocurrency, blockchain, non-fungible tokens, and how that translates into the broader vision of envisioning the growth and innovation of Islamic finance. As I've mentioned, that we are at the cusp and we are at this juncture in which the Islamic finance industry needs to take and make critical decisions. Do we take the decision to innovate, to grow, to become part of the fintech revolution that has taken over the world by storm? Or do we fail to innovate and continue with an outdated system? According to a Financial Times report of 2019, the world's banking system will become obsolete in the next 5 years. And this is an FT Financial Times report. And therefore, I would like to make the statement that banking as we know it is dead, it is obsolete, and if we don't innovate, and we don't grow, and we don't apply the concept of contrarian thinking to banking and finance, then we will fail as an industry. And this is why innovation in terms of technology and adapting to the financial and technological advancements is right now of extreme and critical importance for not only the Islamic finance industry, but for the broader financial services and banking industry. So therefore, I would like to now go through the presentation with you, and the methodology of today's discourse will be that I will present to you the slides, and thereafter we will have a separate Q&A session where I would like to engage with you as members, as professional members of the banking industry in terms of the issues that have been discussed and also in terms of the broader Islamic financial services industry. These are some of our credentials in terms of global Islamic financial services. We advise close to over 380 financial institutions, banks, insurance companies, government, central banks on Islamic finance. And these are some of the assignments that we have engaged. For example, we advise the Botswana Life Insurance Limited Company, which is the largest insurer in Botswana. We also advise the Center for Advanced Islamic Economics based in Pakistan. We advise various governments and central banks on Islamic finance. And we serve as the executive director of the Russian Islamic Finance Council based in Moscow. These are some of the products that we have developed, including a Sharia-compliant real estate and asset management funds. We have developed various Sharia-compliant sukuk products. We have developed Sharia-compliant wealth management products, and we've advised the Chinese government on a Sharia-compliant energy product worth 150 million United States dollars. These are some of the services provided by GIFS from a Sharia perspective. And in brief, Global Islamic Financial Services Firm is an Islamic investment bank and asset management firm where we have 4 important divisions. The first division is in terms of our CIB division, Corporate Investment Banking Division, in which we have done deal advisory of over 8 billion United States dollars, issuing sukuk, Islamic bonds, structured corporate capital raising activities, and structured finance. Secondly is we have a private equity division. Thirdly is we do prop trading, where we have an exclusive agreement with the Dubai Gold Exchange, which is an entity that is controlled and owned by the UAE government and supervised by the UAE Central Bank. Lastly is we do financial services and wealth management, and we've just recently launched our master's program in Islamic finance, banking and economics, where we have over 75 students from 34 countries globally. Our motto is embracing Islamic finance through Sharia compliance, achieving new heights in expansion and growth. So really we see Islamic finance as being a different and ideal economic system that can power the growth of the world. You have 3 different economic systems. You have the capitalist system, you have the communist system, the socialist system, and you have the Islamic economic system. So these are 3 different economic systems. If you look at the capitalist system believes that there is no divine intervention and regulation around economic activities. Man has unbridled freedom in terms of how they manage their wealth and how they earn their wealth. When it comes to Islamic finance and the Islamic economic system, man is governed by divine regulations in terms of Islamic economics, finance and banking. And when it comes to the socialist system of economics, the socialist system believes that all the resources, all property belongs to the state, and you as a citizen of a socialist government, of a socialist state, you are only entitled to the rewards and the results of your labor. In other words, that you can receive a wage for the labor that you have deployed. And you cannot own any resources, you cannot own any property. So these are 3 different economic systems. And I would just like to mention 2 important points regarding this. The first is that the main divergence between the Islamic economic system and the conventional economic system is that we as Muslims believe that the very concept of economics, of finance, is merely a means to an end. It is not the end and the primary objective itself. And that is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala states, يَبْتَغُونَ مِنْ فَضْلِ اللَّهِ, that when you engage in business, finance and economics, it is so that we can seek the pleasure of Allah. In other words, it is a means to an end. It is not the end and the objective itself. When we talk of capitalism, we talk of socialism, that is the means and the end itself. That is a very primary objective of life, in that it is materialistic. It is based on the mere procurement and achievement of materialistic property, and it is not a means to an end, whereas from an Islamic economic perspective, it is a means to an end. One person by the name of Adam Smith, he was the inventor of modern capitalism. And he made a statement to say that in every transaction, there is the invisible hand of God. So there is no need for divine intervention and guidance when it comes to our financial dealings and transactions. He believed that there is no need for divine regulation, for divine intervention, and he believed in humanist secularism in terms of applying the concept of finance, business, and economics. So perhaps the question to be posed to Adam Smith is that how do you then explain the massive economic inequality that we see in the world? According to an Oxfam report of 2019, the world's 26 wealthiest people control the wealth of 2.6 billion people on the planet. Is that not an unjust concentration and manipulation of economic resources and wealth? And this is what Islam seeks to remove. Islam seeks to remove this economic and financial manipulation of wealth and resources. And that is why Allah says in the Quran, كَيْ لَا يَكُونَ دُولَةً بَيْنَ الْأَغْنِيَاءِ مِنْكُمْ. Which means that what is the fundamental element of an ideal Islamic economic system? كَيْ لَا يَكُونَ دُولَةً بَيْنَ دُونَ الْأَغْنِيَاءِ مِنْكُمْ. So that it does not become the concentration and financial manipulation of wealth in the hands of a few. And this is exactly what the riba-based and conventional-based capitalist system does. It creates concentration of resources in the hands of a few. So I would like to now discuss the opportunities that present themselves for the Islamic finance industry, and this is what is referred to as forward thinking and how we can apply the advancement of technology, of financial technologies, so that we can provide greater value to the sector itself. The first is with regards to the concept of open banking. So open banking or decentralized finance, what is also termed as embedded finance, essentially provides the opportunity for banks, financial institutions to provide banking facilities, financial solutions via different mediums and channels. For example, recently I came across Google that had the idea of developing a Google Bank. Now Google is in the internet and software technology space. Why would they get involved into banking? Because they have realized through the concept of open banking and decentralized finance that they simply can use the data to provide financial solutions, banking to most of their users. Imagine clicking onto the Google page and you click, I want a loan. The first entity that will provide you with an advert will be Google itself. That we are offering you a financial instrument, we are offering you a loan. So this is what is termed as open banking and decentralized finance, where there remains a huge opportunity. For example, here in Kenya, you have a 70% mobile penetration rate. Now, if you, for example, are a bank, you're a financial institution, you need to have exposure to customers, you need to have the right data so that you can provide loans to the customers who need those financial solutions. So if you have data that is available to you, for example, through through a decentralized or open banking platform, then through that data, you are able to provide financial and banking solutions to the customers. For example, if you look at a software platform, like an e-commerce platform, let's take, for example, Amazon. Amazon would know that which customers have bought what on which particular day, and they would then be able to hand over that data to you as a banking and financial services partner, where you'd be able to know which customers fit which segment of the market and what loans you can provide them. Or for example, take for example a data mining company. A data mining company would be able to provide you with specific leads on customers that are looking for a particular financial solution at a particular segment of the market. And it is no wonder that Elon Musk, who is one of the world's wealthiest billionaires, purchased a data mining company that was listed on the New York Stock Exchange for just above 80 million United States dollars. And the rationale behind that purchase was so that he knew which customers wanted to buy a Tesla at which particular time. That is the genius of data, the genius of decentralized finance.